Hello and welcome to Brawl News. Today we're ready for another Brawl Olympics, but before we turn our time over to our chief Brawlist, we have something very important to say. Are you happy, Jerry? There you go. I said it. Is that enough? We would like to apologize for shutting down Brawl News for the past couple of weeks. Jerry, our most amazing and talented writer, was accidentally fired, which was obviously a huge mistake. Those directly responsible for this incident have either been sacked or forced into submission. Somebody please save me. Now for your favorite time of the week, the Brawl Olympics. Hello fellow brawlers, I'm KairosTime and it is time for another Brawl Olympics. You guys have been waiting very patiently for this one and it is going to be a good one. Today we are going to be comparing the ranges of all of the supers in the game. Now before we jump onto this, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell if you haven't already so you do not miss future Brawl Olympics events in the future. And if you really want to support the channel, guys, you can now become a channel member for exclusive perks right here on YouTube. More information on that when you click on the link in the description below. Now before we jump into this, make sure you go ahead and put in the comment section below who you think has the 3 longest ranges in the game for supers. Okay guys, let's go ahead and start off by talking about the shortest super in the game, and I suppose you could technically call it a 4-way tie between each of the spawners with a range of 4 2/3 tiles. Now this is the exact same range for Penny's and Jesse's turrets, Pam's healing station, and also Nita's bear. Now for your information, we're actually going to be giving every single brawler in the game the best advantage possible. So we're actually going to be incorporating this 4 2/3 tiles into their super rankings later on. So 3 of them are not dead last. So then the question is, which of these 4 has the shortest super in the game? It's gonna be Nita. That's right guys, Nita takes 21st right now, and it is kind of a little tricky to determine the bear's range. When you very first look at it, it kind of looks like it might be 1 tile, maybe less than that, but due to where the ruler starts on El Primo and mirroring that to the bear, it actually comes out to 1 1/3 tiles for that bear. Now if we add that to the 4 2/3 tiles for Nita's throw range, she actually has the shortest range of super in the game at 6 tiles. Or maybe it's infinitely long because the bear actually chases people? I'm gonna let you guys call that. Either she's first or she's last. Up next we have Frank coming in 20th place with a super range of 7 tiles. Shelly comes in 19th place with a super range of 7 1/3 tiles. And coming in 18th place is Piper with an 8 1/3 tile range. Now one thing to notice is that it actually looks like it measures out to be about 8 tiles, but Piper actually lands in the center of the 8 1/3 tile mark. You'll actually notice for brawlers that either jump or throw over a distance that the range for whatever reason seems a little off. At least the preview of the center of the attack looks off. But I did accurately measure each one of them, so you don't have to worry about that. I will give you the correct numbers. Another thing for you to note about Piper is she kind of actually has another range, and those are the bombs that she drops. Each one of those bombs has a 2 tile radius, and they can land anywhere up to 2 tiles away from where she originally jumped. That means that her explosions actually have a possible 4 tile radius. Does that actually help Piper for this competition? No, it does not, but if anything, I figured some of you guys would at least be curious. Up next, we have Pam in 17th place. Now, Pam has her throw range of 4 2/3 tiles, and her turret has a radius of 4 tiles. This puts her effective range at 8 2/3 tiles. Dynamite actually takes 16th place. His bomb can actually be thrown 7 tiles and has a radius of 2 2/3 tiles, making his effective range 9 2/3 tiles. Then coming in 15th place, we have Spike. Now, Spike is able to throw his super 7 1/3 tiles, and it has a radius of 2 2/3 tiles, which gives his effective range 10 tiles total. Now, one thing that's important to recognize for this video is that now we are at the 10 tile mark, and that is an important marker because from here on out, all of the brawlers can actually outrange brawlers like Piper and Brock and Ricochet, who have been considered the longest range brawlers in the game. Next, we have a 2-way tie for 13th place, where Poco can shoot out his super at 10 1/3 tiles, and Tara can also reach that 10 1/3 tiles due to her throw range of 6 1/3 tiles and a radius of 4 tiles. We also have a 2-way tie for 11th place between Colt and Mortis's supers. Very simply, Colt and Mortis have super ranges of 11 tiles. I mean, it wouldn't be a Brawl Olympics video if there weren't some ties, right? Up next, guys, we have El Primo slamming down in 10th place. El Primo can actually jump a distance of 8 2/3 tiles, but once he lands, he actually deals out a blast of damage that has a radius of 2 2/3 tiles on top of that. That brings his effective range to 11 1/3 tiles. Brock's super takes 9th place. Now the center of Brock's super reaches 8 tiles, but then the radius measures out to be 3.5 tiles on top of that. That's right, guys. 3.5 tiles. We're not talking about a third of a tile. Brock's super is the only super range that does not measure out to be exactly 1/3 of a tile. I double checked it. I triple checked it. It's 3.5 tiles, guys. However, I will say that because of his firing pattern, it actually doesn't reach that exact range in a straight line. It's actually more like 11 tiles, but there are parts of his super blast that do reach that additional 3.5 tile radius, so I think we're just going to give it to him. Bull charges in 8th place with a super range of 11 2/3 tiles. Bull marks the last non-complicated super range, guys. Gotta love me some Bull. Up next is Bo taking 7th place. Now, Bo's super range is a bit tricky, okay? He has a throw range of 8 1/3 tile, and once it lands, the bombs can actually land anywhere between 2 1/3 tile away from that center. On top of that, guys, each bomb has a 1 2/3 tile radius. If everything lines up perfectly and he throws it out at max distance, then they also jump out at max distance and then it explodes. Bo's super can actually reach a range of 12 1/3 tiles. That's bomb-tastic. Up next, we have another tie for 5th place. We have Barley, whose throw range is 9 tiles, but at max distance, the radius reaches 4 1/3 tiles, which increases his effective range to a massive area covering 13 1/3 tiles. Jessie ties with Barley for 5th place, where she can actually throw her turret at 4 2/3 tiles away from her. And on top of that, if you actually measure Jessie's turret's range, you'll find that it has its own range of 8 2/3 tiles. If you add that together along with Barley, Jessie's super range can actually reach 13 2/3 tiles away from her initial throwing spot. If you happen to finish off a brawler because you threw that at max range, I can only imagine that Jessie would say, "Great spot!" Ricochet finds himself in 4th place. Now, normally Ricochet's super can only reach a range of 13 1/3 tiles, which is still incredibly far. You may even notice that that's actually 2 tiles further than Colt's super can reach. But when you actually use his star power and line it up perfectly against a wall, it actually expands his super range by 1 1/3 tiles. Now, being directly up against this wall is pretty situational, but it does technically increase his super range to 14 2/3 tiles. Okay, guys, we are down to the top 3 for super ranges. Now, if you put it in the comment section below, let me know if you got it right or if you got it wrong, guys. If you've been paying attention to who we've covered, you may already know who it is. Coming in 3rd place, guys, we have Crow. Now, Crow's jump range only reaches 8 1/3 tiles, but once he lands, he actually shoots out a bunch of poison dagger feathers in a 7 1/3 tile radius. Add those together, guys, and you get a 15 2/3 tile super range, which is absolutely insane. Now, obviously, if you did this just to land that one dagger, it wouldn't be very much damage in an actual situation. But I guess if you really just needed that last dagger, you could go for the kill and hope you get lucky. Landing in 2nd place, we have Penny. Now, like all of the other spawners, Penny has a throw range of 5 2/3 tiles. Her turret, however, is very interesting. It will only fire at an enemy brawler that comes within 13 1/3 tiles of it. But the cannonballs actually don't always hit right in the middle of that target. The cannonballs can actually land anywhere within a 1 tile radius of that spot, and they also have a damage radius of 1 2/3 tiles. So if we add all that together, the 4 2/3 tile throw range, the 13 1/3 tile targeting range, the additional 1 tile possible firing range, and the 1 2/3 tile damage radius, we get a total range of 20 2/3 tiles, guys. Now, if that's not impressive, guys, just remember that that actually beats the 3rd brawler by 5 tiles. And of course, guys, coming in 1st place, you probably guessed it, we have Daryl, taking first place in the Brawl Olympics again. That's right, guys. Daryl's super is so long that I actually had to split it up into 2 parts. The 15 and 5/6 tiles one direction, as well as the 7 and 5/6 tiles the other direction. Add those together, guys, and you get the longest range in the game at 23 and 2/3 tiles. Unless you count Nita's bear walking as an infinite range. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Brawl Olympics. These videos actually take a ton of time to put together, so if you did like it, I would really appreciate that thumbs up, that subscribe, possibly joining as a new member, and commenting in the section below. Also, guys, before I end this video, I wanted to give a huge thank you to those that helped me with the majority of this gameplay, including Portal, Illustria, Cradu, Christina, and Shadow Jutsu. Additionally, there were several others who helped me with recording 1 or 2 recordings as well. A big thank you to them. For now, guys, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.